G'day everyone, my name's Shannon and I'm an artist. We're getting pretty close to Halloween, so today we're going to be drawing some queer witches. It's time for some art shenanigans. I don't know who this video is for. I'm pretty sure it's just for me. I don't know if anybody who is relevant cares about Buffy the Vampire Slayer anymore, but it's really important to me. I know it's very controversial. I know that the director is controversial, and I know that Willow's queerness is controversial because she was arguably bi, and they didn't address that because people would have seen that as like delegitimizing her queerness and making her less queer somehow, and that's super dodgy. And I know that she gaslit Tara, and I know that, the kill your gays trope was basically born with these two, but I don't care. None of that can take away the magic that is Willow and Tara. Nothing can undo it for me. Nothing can ruin it for me. Picture this tiny 13 or 14-year-old me watching the show that I like because it has cool vampires in it and edgy emo. I'm 14 and I think this is deep themes. It's actually legitimately pretty deep, but I didn't know the real reasons it was deep. I just thought it was cool. And I'm watching it, and then this scene comes up. This scene. You see, they had to get creative about how they showed the naughty grown-up things in Buffy the Vampire Slayer because the network didn't want them to show gay sex. So instead of actually explicitly doing that in the scene, they do this spell, and everyone knows it's not a spell. And tiny teenage me watching this, I'd seen sex scenes before. I was 13, I wasn't like an actual baby. I'm watching this and I'm like, hold up, something's happening, and they're sweating and they're breathing heavily, and I didn't understand what it meant, and I didn't understand why I was so overcome. I had such strong feelings about this magic spell. This changed my life. This ridiculous, it's a beautiful scene. It's legitimately, as a grown-up looking at it, as an artist looking at it, it's a beautiful scene. Well, nicely written, very artistic, It's tasteful. It's definitely not, icky. But my god, my tiny teen self had a wild awakening watching this. And I think that what that goes to show is that sometimes it's better to find a workaround in a less explicit way to tell a story. Sometimes, it's even more meaningful that there was no nudity. I think I would have been shocked and taken aback as a teenager if there had been, because I wouldn't have been prepared for that. That would have been too much for my tiny, closeted, queer, confused brain. I don't think I would have been prepared for that. But this was subtle, and it mesmerized me. So, please, I understand that there are some controversial views about this show and this couple in particular, but please, no hate. Okay, Willow and Tara are my comfort couple. We just pretend the end of season 6 didn't happen, and then we can be happy. Good job. I once drew a comic of me and my sister teleporting into the episode Seeing Red to dive in the way and save Tara's life. I also, at 13, I had an art book that had all the lyrics to Under Your Spell from the musical written out in the book. Right after, by the way, a page where I call this mean bully girl gay as a put down, and I, in hindsight, I had some shit to work out. With all of that said, with that backstory, I'm sure you can understand that it was inevitable that one day I would draw this scene. I think this is the second time too, my second attempt. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I sort of started as if it was a painting or something. I started it with the background, just carving out shapes in the darkness, and worked forward. And when I got to drawing the figures, you'll see that I really struggled with Tara's face. The actor, Amber Benson, has really soft features, but still a really striking and recognizable face, I think. and it was hard to sort of balance those things. Alison Hannigan, however, who plays Willow, I feel like was pretty easy to stylize. She has pretty sharp features, I guess, and I think that's what makes the difference. But Amber has very soft blonde features, and I don't know why, but that was too hard. I was like, how do I give her this very specifically shaped eyebrows when you can hardly see her eyebrows in some places? I also accidentally made her hair too dark, as you'll see in a bit, because she's cast in so much shadow that in the reference her hair looks almost black, but I intentionally lit her face more in my version because I wanted to be able to see what was going on with their expressions, and I didn't account for that enough by lightening her hair as much as I should have. You'll also notice that I made some changes to the pose in order for the illustration to make sense. I wanted you to be able to see that they were looking at each other, but in the scene it sort of skips between the two of them, each looking back at one another, but you don't actually see a moment where they're facing one another that I recall. Not this much of them anyway, so I had to futz with it a bit to make it make sense. So this is a very weird thing, but I really like how the lamp in the background turned out. I don't know, I think that part's kind of nice. It has the same energy as the scene in the background, as the scene from the show. The fairy lights too, I think. There's lots of lost and found edges in this drawing. You know, where the colours blend together so much that they don't show anything about the form, at least in places where it's not important that you see it. And I really like that effect. It just draws attention to the parts of the illustration that are important. It's my very firmly held opinion that everyone, especially young girls, should watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and if you haven't and you're like 15, please watch it. I know Gen Z probably doesn't care, but I think you should watch it. I think it's important for your well-being and your development as a young woman. But yeah, like, look at their expressions, my god. This is such an embarrassing thing for me to put on the internet, but it's important to me, and I feel like Halloween is the perfect time to talk about how important it is. And Buffy and everything created by that director who shall not be named, and all of the bad rap about the kill your gays trope, all that stuff. There's just a lot of negativity about it that has been the only thing that's been relevant about Buffy in a while, and I don't want that to be the only thing that's relevant. I think Willow and Tara is still important and they deserve celebrating. More glows on the outside of the hair to sort of separate it a bit from the background. I think that strong highlight was important, actually. And now I'm getting to the glowy magic-y stuff. Oh, look at me copying out and putting a glow in the background so that you can see them apart from the background a bit more. If it's silly and it works, it's not silly. I'm starting to add in some more sharp highlights to prepare for adding the glow in the bottom. As we get close to the end, you're going to see a bit of flashing where the special effects happen and the background disappears and comes back and whatnot. So sorry, a flash warning. I wish I'd just sort of kept a version of it that had no background, because I think that'd be a cute sticker. But unfortunately, I don't think I have that anymore. Don't have the file anymore. The first plan I had for how I would make it look like it was behind them and in front of them didn't work out. You can see on that left bit there that there was a cut in the middle, so I had to do it again. Bit of a colour dodge there because the magic is sort of saturating the reds of their clothes. I had a bit of noise to make it look more like the show, and I regret doing that because it takes some of the detail away, but whatever, that's what happened. And here it's my beautiful girls. Look at them. Look at them. They're just magical. Abracadabra. If you want to watch something that'll just make you make your heart swell, you should watch this. But also don't watch the end of season 6 because that'll make your heart swell in a bad way and you might not recover. If you'd like to get the poster of this drawing, it's on my online store. So thank you very much if you made it this far. Happy Halloween! And thank you so much to my patrons, Aldian, Reese, and Kerry. I appreciate you guys so much. You make it easy for me to make more content all the time. Patrons get early access to all of my content, the stuff that goes on YouTube especially. They get full resolution files to use as phone backgrounds and all that stuff. I intend to also make colouring in pages if you're interested. And they also get a special role on our Discord server, which is linked below, along with my Patreon and all of my socials. It wasn't that long ago that we hit 20k on TikTok, so I'm really excited about that. And I'm curious to see how fast we grow on YouTube by comparison. Maybe it should be a competition, because TikTok grew a lot faster than Instagram. I wonder if YouTube will do the same thing. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. For any likes and subs, happy Halloween!